Hey guys, welcome back to the programming interview series where we will be breaking down interview programming questions step by step. For this series, we'll be working on a website called Codility, which has lots of free practice questions to choose from. Let's start by going over the question that is available on the website. So the question we'll be working on today is Lesson 2, Question 1, Cyclic Rotation. So what this question states is the following. An array A consisting of n integers is given. Rotation of the array means that each element is shifted right by one index, and the last element of the array is moved to the first place. For example, the rotation of array A equals 3, 8, 9, 7, 6 is 6, 3, 8, 9, 7. Elements are shifted right by one index, and 6 is moved to the first place. The goal is to rotate array A k times. That is, each element of A will be shifted to the right k times. So for this question, what we have to do is we have to write a function called solution that, given an array A consisting of n integers and an integer k, return the array A rotated k times. So for example, given A equals 3, 8, 9, 7, 6, and k equals 3, the function should return 9, 7, 6, 3, 8. So 3 rotations were made because k equals to 3. So let's break that down. So we have 3, 8, 9, 7, 6 as our array. So 6 is the last element. So we want to save that because we have to bring it back to the front of the array. The 7 goes to the right, to the end. The 9 goes to the right and replaces the 7. The 8 goes to the right, replaces the 9. And the 3 goes to the right and replaces the 8. And finally, the 6 comes down to the front. That's one rotation. Then, so we want to do this 3 times since k equals to 3. So we're going to want to repeat that with our new array. So as you can see, we shift it down again, and then we get 7, 6, 3, 8, 9. And then we want to do it a third time, so then we get 9, 7, 6, 3, and 8. And that is our final array. For another example, given A equals 0, 0, 0, and k equals 1, the function should also return 0, 0, 0. Given A equals 1, 2, 3, 4, and k equals 4, the function should return 1, 2, 3, 4. Since there's only 4 items in this array, if it rotates 4 times, we'll end up back at the initial array. So for this question, we have to assume that n and k are integers with the range 0 to 100. Each element of array A is an integer within the range negative 1000 to 1000. Alright, so with that, let's get right into coding. So I have Eclipse opened here, and we're going to start working on our program. So we're going to start by initializing the solution method here. So solution int array A, and we have int k. So these are the 2 parameters to our solution method. And we're going to want to return array A as a final output. Next, we're going to want to fill in the solution method and start working on our actual code. So if a.length does not equal 0, so this is our condition to check that the array actually has values in it. Because if it doesn't have any values, we don't need to do anything. And then while k is greater than 0. So k is going to be our counting integer, so we're going to be using that to index our position through the array. Next, we're going to add some comments to the code here. So again, so if a.length does not equal 0, so we're checking to see that the array is not empty. For the while loop, we are checking, so we want to loop through all elements in the array, so we're going to use k as our index. And then in the while loop, we want to shift over all elements in the array for a total of k times. Next, we're going to start filling in the while loop. So we have the while loop for k is greater than 0. So let's do A equals shift by 1A. So what this is going to be is we want to return an array A that is shifted by 1. So we're going to have a helper method for this. But since K is our looping index, so after we shift by 1, we want to do K minus equals 1. So we're going to decrement the count of K after we complete one shift. Next, we're going to go up and create our helper method. So public static, and it returns an int array, shift by 1, and it takes an int array A as a parameter. And what it's going to do is it's going to return an array A. So for our shift by 1 helper method here, we're going to want to start filling it in. So as we mentioned when we were reading the question, so we're going to have to take note of the last element in the array. So integer last element equals A indexed at A dot length minus 1. So this will return the last element in the array. So remember that in an array, the index starts at 0. So if you want to get the last number, you have to do A dot length minus 1. For this method, we have to loop through the array, starting from the back. We have to assign each value the value that came before it in the array. So for example, if we have array 3, 8, 9, 7, 6, the 6 is going to go to the front, and then every element is going to shift to the right by 1. So we have 6 to the front, and then 3, 8, 9, 7, all shifted over by 1 to the right. So for the main loop of the shift by 1 method, we're going to have a for loop. So we're going to be looping through all elements in the array. So we start at integer I equals A dot length minus 1. So we're starting at the back of the array. And while I is greater than 0, we're going to do I minus minus. So we're going to start from the back and work our way to the front. And what we want to do is assign AI equals to AI minus 1. So for basically AI, so AI minus 1, so we want to assign it to the element before it. And then once we finish the loop, finally we want to assign the first element in the new array to the old last element. So the first element, A equals A index 0, is equal to the last element, which is our integer that we declared at the beginning. And finally we want to return array A, which is going to be our new array. So now that our helper method is completed, our program should be working as intended, so we can start testing this out. So we're going to go to our static main. We're going to declare an array here, new int array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're going to want to print out the outcome. So let's do solution array 3. So we're going to try shifting the array 3 times. Since our program actually doesn't have anything to print out the solution, in order to see the output, we need to print out the result. So the result is the array. So we're going to do a simple trick here to print out all elements in an array. So it's basically just a for loop iterating through the elements. So for integer I equals 0, while I is less than array.length I plus plus. And then system.out.print the array at index I. So this will just print out all elements in the array. So now that we have that, if we run the code, we'll see our solution here at the bottom, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. So perfect, our array got shifted over by 3. So 3 times. So the 5, 6, 7 came to the front. So perfect, that test worked. Let's try shifting it by 4 this time. And we see 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. So we have an extra element that shifted over. If we do 5, we see the same thing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. So it shifts by 1 more again. Let's try 6. The same thing. It worked again. It shifted by 1 extra one. And let's try 7. So 7, we see that we're back to our original array because the array had 7 elements. So every element shifted by 1 and then it'll back at the original. So finally, to test the program, we're going to go back to the Codility website, and we're just going to copy our code that we wrote here back into the website. So this is basically our entire program. So let's go to the website here, and we'll just copy it in right here in the class solution. And if we run a test, everything should work just fine. Okay, perfect. Everything seems to work. So if we submit the task, we'll be able to see our score. So remember, our goal here is to always try and get 100% on these. So let's just wait for this to load in. Shouldn't take too long. So this is all the code we wrote. Submission is being evaluated, and perfect, 100%. So these are the tests that were done. One thing about this website is it doesn't really show you exactly what it was running, but it shows you that everything is okay and everything passed. So with that, that's going to be the end of this tutorial. As always, leave a like, leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions on content you'd like to see. And yeah, see you guys next time for the next tutorial.